Hello, it's Anna and Sophie from Soundyard here. We make Chris Skinner's Countryside podcast, and we've got something very exciting to share with you. We have a new service that's being launched, and it's called Spoken Stories.
Spoken Stories is all about recording the voices and memories of your loved ones in outstanding quality, so they can be enjoyed for generations to come. For example, you know the story that Grandma tells that everyone in the family has heard before. Well, Spoken Stories is about getting those stories down and preserving them for your family history. Spoken Stories is about gifting someone the time to capture these personalities and unique voices.
We record your loved ones' tales, whether it's their whole life story so far or something more specific like a life-changing event. It is a gorgeous experience, and what you're left with is a beautiful monologue that really captures the essence of that person.
Think of it like an audio portrait, and take a listen to a snippet of this one from Diane's spoken story, recorded in her beautiful garden.
I was born in 1951 at Newmarket, and unfortunately I didn't see Mum for a year. I was looked after by a lovely nurse called Diane, my name, because my mum had TB when I was born. And so my mother never worked because with her problem with her, lungs, she had to go and have it sort of pumped up every so often. She used to do a lot of dressmaking, so she always made our clothes years ago. But yeah, she was a lovely mum, yeah, and Dad as well, yeah. That's very nice childhood I had, yeah, very nice. Yeah. I got married February the 16th, 1974. The weather was gorgeous. I ended up having to put on a big sort of T-shirt under my wedding dress I didn't need. I had a lovely one of those transparent umbrellas in case it rained, and it was just a beautiful day. I think I'm always sort of quite cheerful. I mean, if I go down the Luke and deliver some eggs to somebody, I'll meet somebody and chat, and then Paul say, "Where have you been?" I said, "I've been chatting to people." That's just my way. That's just how I am. We've always lived here. We had this built in 1974. They put the footings down in February and we moved in the August. Years ago, I used to go around the village on a bike, and when I had Ian, he'd sit on the back. We live in a lovely area. We've got lovely neighbours. They help us all out, which you all do with neighbours, and that's very, very nice. And as I said to Paul, I'm hoping we can keep this place on until, well, I don't want to move from here until I go out in a brown box. I hope that's not too soon.
If you'd like more information about Spoken Stories and to take advantage of our special introductory offer, you can head to www.soundyard.org/spoken stories.
And keep listening after this episode with Chris, and you'll hear another example of a spoken story. It's a view of the world from a 6-year-old.
Chris Skinner's Countryside podcast with Matthew Gudgeon.
Do you know what? We're really having a lovely October in Norfolk. Lots of sunshine, blue skies. The season of autumn, though, is setting on, and we're getting these glorious colours which are brought up by the sunshine. And here at High Ash Farm, that's certainly the case. And lucky old Chris Skinner. I'm only here for an hour a week. You're here all the time.
I know, and I am hugely aware of the change of seasons. I started off last week's podcast with 2 visitors, Greg and Mary, and they'd come from southern Australia just to visit High Ash Farm, and they were totally impressed with the seasons here, because where they are, it's kind of either winter or summer, and there's no transition really, no obvious 4 seasons. Whereas with here, you can plonk me on any of the fields on the farm and I can look round and I can almost tell you which month it is, because they are so distinctive. And
It's funny, like the air changes, doesn't
It's
it? When
something-
we
it's
get
a-
to autumn.
It's a smell from the ground, perhaps. It's moist now, it's warm, it's the height of the sun, and that certainly affects the birds on the farm and whether they're going to breed or not. And a lot of people get kind of a bit down because you're looking ahead to winter, and winter's to me is a kind of breathing spot. It's a renewal when lots of things germinate, and if you know where to look and when to look, it's full of promise and excitement, and that's what lifts the spirit. And I think everybody is becoming more aware of the environment and more aware of the effect it can have on you if you have contact with the seasons, and it kind of uplifts you and puts you in a good mood, basically, which is worth an awful lot, and it's for free, a lot of it, which is even better. And this time of the year, you mentioned the colours, and I'm going to whisk you around the farm. I hadn't realised you were going to say that, because the colours are anything but dull at this time of the year. The leaves are beginning to change colour. Some of the colours are flamboyant, to say the least, and I'll take you to one or two of them as we travel around the farm. It's a kind of whistle-stop visit to High Ash, just to pick out the highlights, and every week, I mean, we've been going over a year now, it's different.
It is. And it's when with the sunshine today, we've even seen a butterfly, haven't we?
Yes, I know. It's almost goodbye time for them. They'll go into hibernation, and in a few weeks' time, we will look for them, actually, while they're doing their almost 6 months sleep. Wish I could do that. But talk about flamboyant colours. Just look here. There's a shrub in the hedge here. It's a British native, and it's the only colour you can describe it is kind of shocking pink.
It is. Yeah, lots of little berries.
Yes, and they are sort of cerise. I'm just trying to think of the right name for it. It's such a bright pink.
Blackpool Rock pink.
Yes, that's a good one. And round the other side, where there's a meadow, there's a fence here, and the other side is absolutely pink with them. The leaves are dropping off now, and it's a shrub, it's a British native actually, that's really quite indistinct for most of the year until it gets to autumn, and then the leaves start to change colour. You've got some greens, some sort of pinks in the leaves, and there's some here bright pink, and as soon as you touch them, there they go, they drop off. And that's quite interesting. The Americans have got a good name for it. It's called fall. Here we call it autumn, and the leaves just drop off, but fall is very descriptive. And these bright pink berries, it's one of the sort of contrasts that really doesn't work as a colour. The seeds are bright orange, so you've got pink and orange together.
Here?
Yes,
Yes.
they're the seeds.
So the berries sort of open up, or the
Yes, they do. Yep, and there's usually four little seeds. So the little pink berries they split open into four, and you get 4 bright orange seeds, and some of them are already dropping out. And it's a way of the shrub advertising itself to say, look, here I am. I've got some nice juicy fruit for the birds to eat. Whoever you are, come and help yourself. And I'm going to drop the leaves off so my berries stand out even more. And it's a way of the shrub having a relationship with the bird life, because as humans, we don't like birds eating our food.
So what is this?
This is called spindle. And as I said, it's a British native, and it's called spindle because when it's growing in a hedge, usually you get long straight bits of wood about the thickness of your index finger, and it's extremely hard. It's really, really unusual. It will grow fresh if you cut it. It will grow fresh growth each year, and after about 2 years, you can harvest it and you can make skewers out of it and all sorts. But originally it's called spindle because it was used in the early woolen industry to wrap the wool on, and then you'd unwrap it onto a spinning wheel, and the spindle would actually unwind and let the wool out, and it could be used then as yarn. So an early use for it. Now the berries, some people have tried to eat them, but they're sort of pretty well poisonous is the best way to describe them. You don't eat the pink flesh, but if you did eat those orange berries, it's a violent purgative. You don't need about a dozen, and you wouldn't come out of the bathroom for several hours. It's the best way to describe it. But it goes through the birds unharmed. Those berries are very, very hard, these little orange berries. I'll just pick one off there. And
it spreads itself.
That's the seed of the spindle tree. It's got a bit of history in farming as well, this particular one, because it was found out in the 1930s that spindle hosted a particular species of aphid. The aphid itself wasn't particularly interesting. The scientific name is Mysis persicae. I had to learn this at college, and it was found that Mysis persicae, this particular aphid, hibernates in spindle trees. So farmers in the southern half of the UK where sugar beet were grown went out with their slashers and cut the spindle right down to the ground to kill it, because they didn't want the aphids that carry a virus called virus yellows. It's still a problem today in sugar beet, and farmers are still having a dispensation to be able to use neonicotinoids to spray their sugar beet. But if it wasn't for the virus yellows, they wouldn't need to now do that. So it's still an important virus vector for that particular species of aphid. But I have planted... my father would probably pull his hair out because he was busy destroying spindle trees, so there wasn't many on the farm. But as I planted masses of new hedgerow,
they're a native, an important
they're
part.
a native, exactly that, and an important part of the ecosystem. So I love having them here, particularly as the leaves drop off and you have these violent pink berries and the bright orange seeds. And here's one in my finger, and I can't actually make a mark on it. It is, look at that, it is absolutely, there's the seed. I've just taken the orange peel off the outside of it, and there's the seed, which goes right through the bird's alimentary canal unharmed, and then they'll go to roost in a tree or further down the hedge, and it's the foundation of the next generation of spindle.
The third member of our merry band is here. An R.A.T.
Right.
You don't say his name. He's very mellow today, isn't he?
He is mellow. I think he's enjoying the sunshine. He's a really strange dog. He's wandered off into the overwinter wild bird seed mix out there, because on the hottest days, you've heard of Mad Dogs and Englishmen, he will go and lay in the farmyard on the pea shingle. You can barely walk on it, it's so hot. And there he is, stretched out, enjoying every ray of sunshine that he can get. You couldn't make it up, but he's disappeared out of sight now in there. I can just see some of the barley moving over there in amongst the thistles and the sunflowers there. Come on, rat. Next stop. Come on.
Well, Chris has put the van into reverse because we've just seen a little splash of colour in the sunshine.
Yes. Oh, lots of bees on the ivy. There's one right over the top. It's flirting with us. It doesn't want to be seen. And it was a red admiral butterfly. There.
Yes.
Got it. There it goes. Almost going to land on the car.
Yes. It's coming over. Must know we're talking about him. That's quite a rare sighting at this time.
Well, it is. It's getting late, but it just shows what a magnet the ivy is. We're actually on the west side of a hedge. The east side is still coming into flower. So it's been in flower here for a full month at Hyash Farm, and at this time of the year, it's the last proper pollen and nectar flow of the season. And so it's the last real food stocking up time, if you like, for the butterflies, including peacocks, including brimstones. Brimstone wings are shaped like an ivy leaf, and there's still some flirting round here in amongst all the bees. And anyway, we were then off to our next site, and we just had to stop and just enjoy that, because it's kind of farewell to them now. They'll go into hibernation. Some red admirals hibernate right out in the open on the top of oak trees. And the peacocks, being more of a native butterfly, will either hibernate in an old log pile, sometimes under bark. And we've got some new bridges on the farm to cope with the heavy machinery, and that's a favourite place. It's damp, it's cool, and I'll take you down there as a special treat.
You know how to treat a boy.
Almost on your hands and knees, and we'll visit that in a week or two when this hibernation site is secure. So there we are, something to look forward to. Should get some sun on them. Comes from here.
Chris promised us some autumnal colours, and here we are. There's a riot of reds and oranges, and these trees in particular down here, Chris, they do you proud, don't they?
Yes, I planted them specially for autumn colour, would you believe? They're not really a native, but years ago I planted trees for all sorts of different reasons, and some were a mistake. There's a row of Lombardy poplar there, and when I went into a stewardship scheme, Natural England got very sniffy about whether they should stay or whether they should go, and people in the parish actually did a petition to say that they should stay for the rest of their lives and then not be replaced with Lombardy poplar.
So there they stand.
There
and,
they are.
I mean, close your eyes a little bit, and we're in Italy, aren't we?
Well, yes, and that's my first week's wages from my father, so I remember it well. I think I was just 17, and that's what I bought with some of my first week's wages.
But you can see them from the main road, can't you, when
can.
you're on the bypass
Yes,
here? They're such a landmark.
They're what, 65, 70 feet up there now. So, and just look at the colour. So those are Norway maple on the other side of the meadow. The low sun's just catching them. And then over there we've got what's called Cantley Hill Plantation. Some giant beech trees out there. 90, 100, 110 feet tall and 6 feet through the trunk. They're massive animals, if you like, and I just love them, and the colours are changing almost by the day at the moment. So what causes that? Because during the summer months the leaves are green, and if I can explain what we're looking at, green is the pigment in the leaf that harvests the sunlight and makes it into sugars in the tree, and so it's chlorophyll. It's green in colour, and generally that's the colour of the leaves through the summer. But usually about midsummer, in June, somewhere about then, the oak trees put on a big spurt of growth, and the new leaves coming through, and I often get questions about it in the farm office, that the oak tree leaves have gone bright red, and that's because the chlorophyll hasn't yet arrived in the new growth. And so those colours, those reds and deep purples that you will see, is called lammas growth at that time of the year, midsummer. But the rest of the time the chlorophyll kind of holds precedence over the other pigments in the leaves of trees. And the two main ones now, because we're getting to the stage where the trees are finding it hard to find moisture, the night temperatures are dropping, sun levels and light levels are also dropping, and that causes this huge change to happen. In fact, the trees with colour on, that change has already happened, and the leaves have been cut off. So the chlorophyll's been harvested by the tree. That goes kind of back into the tree's nutrients, if you like. But the remaining colours, the reds and the yellows called flavonoid, and the reds and russet colours carotenoids. They're the two main chemicals that are left in the twigs and on the leaves. And what's happened to cause that is the leaf's been cut off already. There's a little kind of almost like a razor blade cut of cells that goes where the leaf joins the twig, and that's called the abscission layer. And then the leaf from that point on is doomed, although we have these lovely colours that's the reason I planted the Norway maple. But if you go into particularly the northern part of the United States, you'll have silver maple and red maple, and they are even more flamboyant than what we're looking at. And when the sun's out, you kind of almost lean backwards with the colours.
People travel to New England in the States, don't they, particularly just to see this display?
Absolutely. And there's nothing to quite like all the different colours of browns, greens, reds, and just glorious. And some of the non-native species like the acers, and sometimes in city parks the maples are planted as well as our own native maple, the field maple that we have here at the farm, lots of them. They all sort of sport these flamboyant colours. This little stock dove just flying over us just then, small version of a wood pigeon, jackdaws coming towards us, and yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. So we did get a question as well, which we will try and sort out.
I've got it just here, in fact.
Because I was mentioning the acorns last week, and
let's just find it. Here we are. Whilst talking about acorns, says Peter Callan, it was mentioned that jays stored them, but squirrels. Right, rats took over, and then the conversation changed. Rat the dog. Yes.
Yes.
I feel there was something interesting about to be divulged. Oh, right. Yes, Rats was certainly playing a major part last week.
He was, yes. I haven't throttled him, but he got severely threatened about barking right through the podcast. And
you had a stern word.
Yeah, we had a very firm word with each other.
An exchange of views.
Yeah, views, yes. No smacks involved or anything like that. And at the moment, he's behaving himself, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
So where did we get to with this jay situation?
Exactly. So we were talking about jays and the special relationship that they have with oak trees at this time of the year. They become incensed in picking up acorns and cachetting them. And normally at High Ash Farm and all over the southern half of the UK, jays are quite discreet birds because they're still shot. They're members of the crow family. They are notorious egg thieves, and they will steal young out of birds' nests as well. They're intelligent and kind of colourful members of the crow family, so gamekeepers dislike them and they kind of treated as vermin. But when you stand back, as I've had to do to learn how to look after and appreciate nature in all its wonders, I've come to respect and actually admire jays, because lots of the oak trees here at the farm, there's 5 acres of successional woodland on the other end of this field. And jays will go off, they'll pick up only the good acorns and cachet them. Now squirrels pick up acorns as well, but they will bite into the acorn to pick it up, and because they've got very long sort of incisors, and to carry them they bite. And once their acorn exterior has been damaged by teeth marks, fungus, which naturally occurs everywhere, gets in, and it prevents the acorn from actually germinating. And that's the point I was going to make. Till that dog, which is well in the woodland here beside us, it's digging something out, and it says it wants some help, but it's not going to get any help.
There's been some mighty digging going on here in this rabbit hole.
Look at this, yes, and this time of the year, the rabbits are becoming more interested in the warrens, and so this huge old spoil heap, this was a big gravel quarry on the other side of the field here. That field's called Frozen or Friston Field, and there was some spoil taken off the topsoil, and the rabbits have used it ever since, and so quite a large warren in there. And Rat's the other side of the warren, but if he thinks he's going to dig this lot out, he'll be here a long time, which might not be a bad idea for him.
Oh, don't talk now, here he comes.
Oh no.
I can see a curly tail.
Yes, you're right, yes, in amongst the nettles. Yeah, no, he's examining another hole. It's quite likely there's a fox or not just rabbits in this warren. It's quite extensive. So he's going along every foot or two. Oh, no, he nearly disappeared down that one. He's checking them all out. And if there's something down there, you have this tirade of noise coming out of him. Anyway, I hope that's answered the question without too much interruption from this mischievous terrier.
Peter Callan, thank you very much. And I love the surname. Reminds me of Edward Woodward all those years ago.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
And the light bulb swinging backwards and forwards.
That's right. Tick-tock.
For anyone under maybe 50, it was a great TV show, that, Callan. But onwards and upwards, and we've got more questions to come later.
We have. We've got more questions, and we're going to carry on the colourful portion of this podcast by venturing into the woodland now, right into the depths of an area of woodland not far from us, where it's wet, dank and dark, but suddenly the light bulb will switch on.
A lot of people loved the episode, Chris, about fungi or fungi forage, and in fact Julian has emailed from Halesworth to say, do you think there's a certain formula in the weather pattern, some years are better than others, for fungi?
Absolutely. Without knowing it, you've kind of hit the nail on the head, because fungi like moist conditions. And although this time of the year, sort of after the middle of October, it's kind of peak fungi time, that's the fruiting body of the fungi. The main portion of the fungi is present really all the year round, but it's more prolific and it produces more autumn fruiting bodies if the soil is moist through the summer months, and that's exactly what's happened this year. And we've had the warm temperatures, and so this autumn we've got a terrific display of different coloured fungi, and we've moved into the woodland now. We're in Foxes Grove, lots of mature trees around us, and it's very tempting to look upwards and kind of realise that the light level's gone up here, because this was one of the gloomiest parts of the farm in terms of lack of direct sunlight, and it's a perfect year. And I said we'd visit some of the colourful species of fungi, and in front of us is some almost, well, I don't know what colour to describe it, but I do know what species it is. It's called violet dappling.
Yeah, well, there is a violet tinge around the side there.
Yes, there is. They're diminutive little fungi, and they're fairly common. They're not edible.
Here we are, look.
Yes, that's a good one. Well done. Well spotted. And it is, I suppose, when we go into the woods in the spring and we find the first violets of the year, it is kind of that colour. Anyway, that's a species. They're called dapplings. It's a member of there's quite a number of them. There's a better specimen there, that lovely kind of violet colour, and they're all doing the same thing. They're breaking down the old deadwood on the woodland floor.
I tell you what it looks like. It's the same colour that garlic looks like sometimes.
Exactly. When you take the skin off the garlic, it's kind of that purpley violet colour underneath. It's really difficult to describe all the different colours, because it seems as though there's more colours in the fungi spectrum than we've got names for them. And here's an interesting one. It's one of the commonest ones of all the fungi, and it's really interesting. It's called the candle snuff fungus. I love the names. There's so many species. I think the early mycologists ran out of names, and so they started to have the more and more extravagant names for the later species that were found. So just the candle snuff. Now, it's interesting. It's on an old piece of ash wood here, and it's almost like the yellow stag's horn that we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago, but in this case the fungal fruiting bodies are white, but at their base they're black, and it looks as though you've been burning a candle wick, and then you
Oh no, I just saw the seeds coming.
You saw the spores coming off.
Spores, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they're smaller than a candle would be, obviously, but it looks maybe if an Airfix modeller has made candles.
Well, you just think of the candle wick, you see.
Yes, that's it.
It's the top of the candle.
The wick, yeah.
Yes, candle wick, yes. So, and the bottom part is the bit that hasn't yet burnt, and the bit you blew out is white, as though it's the ash. And when I blew it, unintentionally, I didn't realise we were going to get the fungal spores coming off.
Yeah, I've got them all over me now.
I've helped about this particular species. So again, it's common, but people have tried to eat this.
Oh, no,
and
no.
It's just completely inedible. You might as well eat sawdust, But it's really intriguing in the fungal world what people would like to eat. So thank you, Julian. That's inspired yet another visit into the woodland here, because it's such a superb year for us to explore the different fungal species. Now, Matthew, we have got a little bit more of a trek to do, because just every year or so we have to come down here and visit one of the most colourful of all the fungi. I have to do it. It's right on the edge of the farm bog, so the ground will be a bit shaky, and there's silver birch. You can see how wet the ground will be. You can see the trees with a very light coloured trunks through there, and that's where we're heading, because this particular fungi, which we're now going to visit, really is closely related to birch and the roots underground, so a little bit more of a trek.
The ducks at High Ash Farm going in to roost for an evening. Hey everyone, it's Matthew here, and if you've been enjoying our countryside podcasts, we've got a small favour to ask.
Yes, Matthew. What we're going to do is to ask for a small donation to help run the podcast, and any surplus goes for conservation at High Ash Farm here. And so it's really important. We both love to keep the podcast going, and that duck agrees with me, I think.
Well, it's straightforward to donate. You can make a one-off donation or set up a small monthly contribution, and the address is highashfarm.com/podcast.
We're hugely grateful for any support. It means we can keep sharing the stories of the countryside, which I love doing each week, but it's that small amount of costs we need to cover. So thank you very much in advance.
Well, I've been dragged across the stream and up the other side again, and I've made it in one piece.
I did warn you.
And Chris, lots of leaves on the ground. Where are we looking?
We're looking beech trees quite near us. Lots of silver birch. There's one giant one there, and I'm leaning against this one after going across that ditch. That was quite a task, and I'll just give that dog a whistle.
Oh, we're quite close to the road, aren't we?
Oh, good. He's behind us. That's very good. Right, lots of excitement. This fungus at our feet appears in most children's books, I suppose. It's the ultimate fungus, and Rat has just missed a prime specimen. He's run past it, and it's the fly agaric. It is just amazing. There's some large ones over there underneath the holly,
yes.
But we're near one which has just emerged.
It's red with dots there, and
Yes.
We'd call it a toadstool, really,
I
wouldn't we?
suppose you can call it what you like, but it is quite poisonous. You might get away with eating one, but more than that, it can be fatal. I think it was in 1873, a United States diplomat had a dozen for breakfast, and after about 24 hours of violent convulsions, he expired. We did talk in previous weeks about a pope, I think it was Clement, that had also been killed with a death cap, which is also in this woodland, but you do have to be careful. But this one causes hallucinatory effects, so it's kind of a similar chemical to what's in LSD, but there we are.
But they're very attractive, isn't it? And I suppose that's the whole paradox of the situation.
Yes, it is, and people like to eat unusual and attractive things, and I don't understand the mentality of it, but people will actually eat them, and particularly in the past, some of the Siberian tribes, the Koryaks was one particular tribe, and they would dry them and then eat them in powdered form over the winter months, and sort of it induces hallucinations. Fortunately, these days, vodka drinking has pretty much taken over, but nevertheless, what we're looking at, if I go down to the ground here on my knees again on the damp woodland floor. These little white dots were joined together, so just as the fungus emerges, all that white, which is now sort of dispersed into dots over the top of the fungus, is a veil. And as the fungus grows very quickly, probably not much more than 24 hours, the dots become separated, and then this one over here, which is pretty well mature, the cap's good 4 inches, 100 millimetres across, and the dots have almost formed lovely little circles around the top. So you can see where that lovely word toadstool comes from, and you can imagine come down here at night and it's dark, still, and very, very quiet, and you can imagine fairies sitting around the top of them, particularly if you've been eating one.
Well, here's a photograph of that's a fly agaric, isn't
Yes,
it?
it
And
is.
it looks exactly what we've got here.
Yes.
Tina, who lives near Canterbury, has sent that in.
Yes, he has. Thank you, Tina. Brilliant picture. And we're kneeling exactly next to that particular fungus. So
She's spotted a lot of woodland ants as well in the undergrowth, forming busy lines. And she's also talked about a lot of ladybirds. Ladybirds at this time of year, she's spotted loads, and I've got to say, in fact, several have landed on me already today.
yes, exactly. And it's the time of the year they're looking to hibernate. You know, any time now we can have the first frosts, and that's pretty fatal for most insects. But if you find somewhere dry, at least it can be cool and dry. And so hogweed stalks, for instance, hollow stalks that are left over the winter, the foliage is all dropped off them, and there might be a little hole near the base, and you can have 10, a dozen ladybirds going up in there and kind of hibernating together. There's some sort of mechanism where creatures, whether it's birds of a feather flock together at this time of the year, or whether it's insects finding a safe habitable place to hibernate, to spend those winter months in the cool and the dry, if they can find somewhere suitable. That's how it all works. And there's often things like the newts we talked about last week, and toads, frogs, grass snakes, and even an adder will all hibernate together. They don't eat each other, because if you've gone into torpor, if you're actually gone into true hibernation, you stop eating. And particularly mammals like hedgehogs, their metabolism slows right down, so sometimes there can be one breath in a whole minute, and if they do get very, very cold, it induces shivering, and that releases some of the energy from the stored fat under the skin. Special fat called brown fat is subcutaneous, and they can mobilise that fat, and the shaking helps them to increase their body temperature, and then they go back into the deep sleep again. So all sorts of mechanisms, and we'll try and uncover some of those secrets in future podcasts when we go under one of the bridges, perhaps, as I promised you or threatened with.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But fly agaric
we
here.
had to visit this.
The red mushroom, toadstool.
Yes, whatever you like to call it. It's got a lot of history. It is so colourful, and we're in a really dark area of the woodland. We've got towering holly. You don't often see holly 30 or 40 feet high. It's damp, it's cool down here, and it is the ideal habitat for all this work being done by the fungi, breaking the leaf litter down, all the twigs that fall on the ground. And I can see another fly agaric just coming up, and right next to the holly there, just peeking up through the leaf litter. And another one just over here. Yes.
So many here.
Yes, there is.
And they're deadly poisonous,
Yes, they
so
are.
please
Just
do not eat these red toadstools.
No,
Why
please.
don't you ever take us to Penny Buns?
Yes,
Seps?
well, we might do that in the future.
They're lovely eating.
They are. They're good eating, but you still have to be careful because there's lots of lookalikes. So only the real thing is edible. When it is edible,
Unless you find it in Sainsbury's, don't touch.
exactly that. Other supermarkets are available.
Got to get over this ditch again now. Oh dear.
There goes Rat. He's got no problem with that. One big. Well, no, he's going to wade through it. It's very unusual.
Oh.
He's normally averse to.
He's getting his paws nice and muddy so he can then clamber over us in the car.
Yeah. All right. I'll go down to the bottom here and.
Oh,
There we are.
Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Oh, down in the riverbed now, and out the other side. And you're all right, Chris?
Yep, I'm up there.
Right,
Good.
more questions. I think we'll make
Yes.
a beeline to the car.
Yep, I think so.
Well, these podcasts go all too quickly, and I've really enjoyed my trip to High Ash Farm at Caister St Edmund once again. Just rounding off though with a few more of your messages. Tony Clark says, just a quick one to include pictures of our garden. And there's a lovely red riot of colour there in Tony Clark's garden. Some wonderful colours, he says. Spring bulbs also putting in an appearance.
Yes, that's an Acer. Look at that, and with hydrangea in front of it. And you kept the heads on the hydrangea. They will dry nicely and sort of provide some winter shape. Look at that, and absolutely brilliant.
More mushrooms.
And more mushrooms. I think that's the honey fungus, probably growing. It's in a semicircle around an old tree stump that's probably under the ground. So that's an invasive species, Armillaria malea, quite a common fungus, and it will attack living trees as well as breaking down the wood in dead trees as well.
Are you ready for a mystery sound sent in by Steve Shrubsall, who is on the, I think you're on the border between Hampshire and Berkshire. So thanks for this. Let's have a listen. So Steve says, this sound I'm unable to identify. To be honest, I'm not even sure it's a bird. Any ideas, Chris?
I listened, and then I listened again. I got my son to listen. His hearing is considerably better than mine. And we looked at each other with a look that says, we've no idea what that is. It's so faint, and the noise, the background noise is so high. To be honest, the only thing it sounds remotely like is a male chaffinch alarm call, but it's over in 1 second, and it's a bit of a tall order. So to be accurate in my deliberation, it's unidentifiable is the best word to use.
And finally, Jan, we've seen your email, and we'd like to say a big hello to you and your mum. And I know that you've had some difficult times recently, but we're delighted that you are enjoying the podcast.
Yes, it's a huge privilege to receive emails like that, and it makes it all worthwhile. It's very gratifying, and thank you for that lovely email.
Countryside Podcast continues next week. And I think, Chris, you're going solo because you're going out in the middle of the night, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and I know you're a creature of early mornings.
I am at the moment with other jobs. Yes, so you're gonna head out on the farm.
Yes, I'll go out. I'm going to strap the microphone to the dashboard of the truck, and I'm going to do a nocturnal visit around my own farm at this time of the year, just to see what we can see. And I have no idea what I'll come across, but it's always one of the highlights to just enjoy what lives with me on High Ash Farm.
Email address chris@countrysidepodcast.co.uk, particularly if you've got a question about what happens after dark. Keep it clean.
Yes, please, keep it clean.
Well done, Chris. Well done, Rat.
And well done, Matthew.
This is a Soundyard production. Music is by Tom Harris.
Hello, it's Anna and Sophie from Soundyard here. Our new service, Spoken Stories, is an incredible experience where we record the stories and voice of your loved one, which you can then hold on to forever.
It makes for an incredible gift, and anyone can make one. Take a listen to this. It beautifully captures the thoughts and feelings of life from a 6-year-old's perspective.
I'm 6 years old and I love running around. I can run very, very fast, but I'm even faster on my bike. That's why I love biking. It makes me feel energetic, and also I bike loads of places. I like doing like sports like dodgeball. The people that are in charge in the world, well, I think that there should be no one in charge at all. So everyone's in charge. So there's no person that's in charge. So everyone is it's like a bit more free. That's what I think. Well, what I try to change at the moment is global warming. It's when us humans litter, destroy the planet and all its nature. That's global warming. It makes me feel sad. And also, if us humans keep doing that, it could destroy the whole planet Earth, and then all of the human beings will be destroyed. I try to stop global warming, and also in my coat pocket I have a bit of Kit Kat litter I found on the floor once. I love the planet more than anything. Grown-ups should be stopping global warming, because grown-ups are more powerful than kids. But if kids can be more powerful than grown-ups, kids and grown-ups can work together and do it. Kids should be able to do the same things as grown-ups. They should have more rights. Well, I love myself because that I believe in a lot of things. That's what I love about myself. I like being a kid, but because when I'm a grown up, I'm gonna have my own kids because that's what I want. And also, I'm a bit worried to have kids, and I'm still gonna be a kid for like a long time. So I'm glad that's actually gonna happen. I'm glad I'm gonna stay a kid for a long time. I'm gonna have kids because I want to know what it feels like to be a parent. I'm gonna be a good parent.
Isn't that just gorgeous? If you'd like to find out more about recording a spoken story of your own, or you'd like to buy this as a present for someone, take a look at our website, www.soundyard.org/spoken stories, and take advantage of our introductory offer. Alternatively, you can get in touch via email, hello@soundyard.org.
And if the internet isn't an option, you can leave a message with your details on our landline number. It's 01603 273 899, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.